My fellow Americans. Rocky, you good? Good to see y'all. We going I was actually in Sacramento this weekend. That's why I only went live that one time, but I was at a conference and just been hella busy, so I ain't been able to come talk to y'all. But while I was in Sacramento, I saw there's a couple things that I saw that I want to talk about. Um, I saw Oshay Duke-Jackson. I like his channel. I never really paid attention to his African channel. I forgot to put the description in the link in the description. I'll put the link in the description before we finish or after we're done. He has his what is it called? The King Ganda channel. I never watched it, but I just happened to be in Sacramento this past I think Friday or Saturday, and he was live, and this nigga was going in on Africans. And I know he's very much so a Pan-Africanist. He lives in Africa. He's somebody I call a true Pan-Africanist because he lives in Africa. All you niggas living in Detroit talking about Pan-Africanism are full of shit. But, the ones that are, you niggas living in goddamn, nigga, you live in St. Louis. You ain't serious about that shit. Nigga, you live in Palmdale, nigga. You're not. But someone who moves to Africa, I consider them a true Pan-Africanist. And so to see him go in on scamming culture in Africa, that was very eye-opening. Y'all know that on this channel I talk about terrorism and everything, but I don't really on this channel I don't too much talk about like Africans and their scamming culture because I've never been scammed by an African. I tend to stick to my experience, but I also don't. I've never really done business with them like that. I've donated to Pan-African causes. I donated to Dr. Umar. I donated to Dr. James Smalls a lot back in the day when he had his hotel, his sauna lodge in Ghana. I donate, but I don't feel like I've ever been like scammed but I do see it. I see it happen out there. It's all over the news. Um, but when I heard Oshay Duke-Jackson break it down from being in Uganda, I was like, damn, I gotta talk about it now. And then when I was driving home from Sacramento yesterday, that's like a 6-hour drive. That's when Tariq was live on Twitter. And one of my homeboys, who's never on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or none of that stuff, he's always only on TikTok. So he like my homeboy Reggie is familiar with Tariq, but he's never on YouTube or Twitter. So with Tariq been on Twitter Space yesterday, one of my homeboys he listened to him for the first time, and I listened to like some of it. I didn't see the whole show. I listened to the whole thing, but Tariq was going. It was like a lot of people of African descent that were going in and having issues with FBA, and I thought it was interesting, because I don't ever have any issues with any other group. I believe groups should define themselves. If Nigerians had a movement to rename the country something that they name it, I'd be 100,000% behind it. I wouldn't be like, you're not you, but you really a Nigerian. What you mean you want to call yourself Ungatu country or whatever the fuck name they choose? If they choose a name, I support them. But I think it's very weird that people have issues with us choosing our own name. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. Um, what's up, everybody? Thank y'all for joining. What I'm gonna do right now, because my computer's still down, I'm waiting for I got a new computer on the way. I do some customizations, get a bigger hard drive, So it's gonna take about 2 weeks for my new computer to come. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work off my laptop, and I'm gonna play a couple pieces of Oshay's video, and it made me be like, well, and I want y'all to watch the whole video, because he didn't sound like he just was angry and bitching. He had very well thought out ideas, and I saw somebody in the chat room say you don't really listen to Oshay. I get it because Oshay you say certain things. I get why people, don't listen. Like I heard him say some stuff on that same channel the other day where he talking about he don't really hang around black Americans because, like, black people in America because, you know, it's always gonna be somebody getting shot. And that may be his experience, and that's probably why he moved. I don't know. I'm not gonna tell a man to not talk from his experience, but me personally, I be around black people all the time, and I don't niggas. Y'all see, I be out there. It'd be the Hollywood Bowl, Taste of Soul. Been going to Taste of Soul for 20 years. I'd be a million black folks on Crenshaw. Ain't nothing never happened. You know, what I mean, I'm around black people all the time. So, but you know, and he says some other things. So if you know, if you don't like Oshay, I get it. You know what I mean? I'm just the kind of person I don't necessarily have to like everything somebody says. Hell, I'm sure a lot of y'all don't like everything that I say. You know, but his point of view from being in Africa, this was very eye opening to me, because usually when you hear black people in Africa, they give you the Wakanda story, that they don't tell you the real deal until they get back to America, and then you hear the real deal. But while they out there, it's the best thing ever. So let's watch this couple clips from his Oshay Duke-Jackson's Kinganda channel, and we are going to talk about it. What's up, chat room? Rocky, you good? You good, Rocky? Look at Rocky over here. Rocky got his eye. He like, man, look, nigga, I'm trying to sleep. You good? All right, Rocky, good. So watch this, and then we're going to talk about it.
Powers, you little middlemen and gatekeepers. See, what they want to tell you is that Africa is a big continent of gatekeeping and seat holding.
That right there is one thing that got me right there when he said that. When he's talking about overall, all the gatekeeping that goes on out there. And this is something that I would always talk about when niggas be like, I'm going to move to Africa. I'm like, and do what? They gatekeep each other. Now he's talking about how they gatekeep against black Americans. But go ahead and listen.
Talking about it's so many opportunities in Africa. It is. But guess what? You got to beat gatekeepers for it. They ain't going to tell you that. They ain't going to tell you how it's not fair. They ain't going to tell you that. How the culture of middleman and it's not fair. They ain't going to tell you that. Gatekeeping is 100% real here.
Oh, shit. I'm over here to drop my phone.
You know what they'll do? I'm going to tell you what they'll do. You go in and want to work with the brands. Oh, why don't you come in? Let's meet up. First of all, the nigger going to be there 2 hours late. And ain't no accountability here. Oh, they're going to blame you for why they late. Man, you 2 hours late. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, he'll downplay it, or she'll downplay it all the time. You will come there, you will show them your idea. Oh, wow. That's nice. That's something to think about. That's excellent. But hold on one second. They're not ever telling you a committed time as to when y'all can work together. Here what they're going to do. They're going to steal all your shit. Like the brother said, they'll steal all your stuff. You'll turn around and look on Instagram. It'll be your idea there.
See, he talked about that. Now, to be fair to you Africans, I've had a nigga do that to me. Kind of think about it, the dude was half Jamaican. But I had a whole nigga that played in the goddamn, I ain't gonna say all that. That was just a very high-end professional and just took all my shit. But he was also half Jamaican. But, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and act like they're the only ones that do that. But this video is like an hour and a half. It's like over an hour long. I'm just playing you a snippet of some of the stuff that he's talking about, because I'd rather you go back and go to Oshay's Kinganda channel and watch him talk about it.
They give you. Now, you got to understand.
I'm going to go back to the beginning.
Deal with your problems that don't make sense. But I cannot come on here and be a liar.
Here you go. Listen to this.
This is what many African countries would love for us to do. You see, what Africans, especially the ones at the top level, when they encounter black Americans, they want us to sell Africa also. Okay? This is what they want to do. And again, at the same time, you're trying to work with Africa, promoting Africa, you spending your money. You're investing your money. But then whenever you start to be critical of what you see here, or shit that don't make sense, all right? Whenever you see that, all of a sudden, you don't know how things work in Africa. That's what they're gonna tell you. Well, this is not how things are done here. See, you don't know how things work. They'll tell you about country. This is Kenya, this is Uganda, this is Ghana. This is not how things work in Africa. Okay? That's what they're gonna tell you. All right? And whatever trials and tribulations that you are going through, you're having with certain people here or with these people here, you're supposed to eat it. Okay? You're supposed to kiss ass. You're supposed to be okay with every type of problem that they give you. Now, you got to understand, they don't want to deal with your problems at all. They don't deal with your problems in America. When they come to the United States, they don't deal with your issues. We're going to be fair. Most Africans will stay away from Black Americans for whatever reasons, cultural stuff. So they don't want to deal with Black Americans' problems in America at all. And I can understand that. But when you're here, you got to deal with their problems.
So, I mean, I'm playing a little more. See, here's why I'm bringing this up. Because I've never been one of those, I tell people to be whoever the hell they want to be. I don't give a shit. I don't live around the earth. I don't care if you come to America. I don't care if you move to Zimbabwe. Just leave me the fuck alone. That's how I look at things. But on a personal level. But on a social level, I'm going to approach it like this. I've been hearing niggas my whole life. When the police kill somebody, Black folks get done something wrong, man, well, I need to just move to Africa. It ain't nothing in America for us. We need to move to Africa. Right now, I'm talking to y'all. The we need to move to Africa niggas. First off, salute to those like Oshay Duke-Jackson who actually did move to Africa. Nothing but respect to y'all. But for the rest of you niggas that have been saying we need to move to Africa for the last 20 years and you haven't, the reason why I've always looked at y'all like y'all stupid is because anytime you move to a country, to a neighborhood, to a city, to a block, you want to study the environment. Environments don't change just because you showed up. And this goes to you immigrants too. Environments don't change just because you showed up and a pack of your friends. You ain't no hell of a nigga like that. Environments don't change. You study environments and you give yourself a cost-benefit analysis. You weigh the negatives and the positives. So when people will say, okay, we need to move to Africa, my first question then is, okay, what part of Africa, what region? And then once you figure out and narrow it down to 3 or 5 regions, you then have to ask yourself, what are the internal politics of these regions? Because if you have this tribe versus that tribe, and one tribe is in control of government and the other one feels left out, and you know what's going to happen? When the tribe that's in power steals from the other tribe, they're going to blame these new niggas that came. And now here your dumb ass go flying over to a country, and now you are caught in the middle of a 2,000-year-long beef between 2 warring tribes. Oh, but they all black, dude. No, they have, it's like anything else. People, what's up, Mama Z? Every country has its internal politics issues. So if you're going to go somewhere, you have to study the internal politics of places. Then if you decide to go there, okay, I'm going to go to Ghana, I'm going to go to Zimbabwe, I'm going to go to, you got to then find out the language they speak, and you got to speak their language. They're not about to do the United States and put all of their, they're not going to do the United States and put government and forms in English just because he showed up. What if they European languages, Portuguese or French or Spanish, if you're in South America? They're not, the French speaking companies, they're going to have nothing in English for you. So now you got to learn how to speak French and whatever their indigenous language is. You've been living in goddamn San Diego for 30 years and you still ain't learned Spanish. So how in the hell is you going to pick up Swahili and French? You're not. Then once you understand the language, you got to see like, okay, how do these people operate? How do they make their money? What's the temperament? And one thing I've heard a long time from Africans is over in Africa, there is a lot of scamming. I've always heard that. I just don't really talk about it because that's not really my experience. But, you know, you guys hear Tariq talk about it. You guys hear other people talk about it. Hell, just from when people call in. I know it's true just by the people who call into Tariq. Tariq ain't got to say a damn thing. One dude called into Tariq, he brought the scamming, and the guy was like, that's just the way things are. That's just the way things are. And I was like, you don't ever hear black people just turn around and be like, okay, gang violence, that's just the way it is. Now, most black people, especially people who used to bang, denounce gang banging. You get these weirdos that come on the internet talking a little bit of shit, these whack 100s and pushing that shit. But for the most part, black Americans be like, yeah, that's some gang banging and some kid shit. You're not gonna have no black American in his 50s other than whack 100 and maybe the game. Them two niggas. Outside of them two niggas, you ain't gonna have nobody in their 50s talking about something. That's just the way it is. No, it's gonna be like, nah, these little niggas is wild. We need to get these YNs off the streets. And that's what you're gonna hear from 98% of former gang members, let alone the rest of us. What's up, Mogul Mays said, my issue is so many immigrants come to the U.S. and act oblivious to American history, and they try revisionist history after a few generations. They wouldn't tolerate in their country. Right. Yeah, oh yeah, Jim Jones is another one. The game, Jim Jones, these are what can you say? These are the oldest YNs on the planet. You know what I mean? So everybody, look, I still love them. Every group is allowed to have special kids. The special needs is part of the family too, all right? Some people gonna be a little bit slow. We love our slow ones. They just a little bit slow. But we don't ever settle and be like, that's just the way it is. So just when I would hear people call into Tariq's Twitter spaces sometimes, and not just some, a lot of times, people say that's just the way it is. I don't want to move to a country to where people say that's just the way it is when it comes to scamming. No, that's not the way it is. That's just fucking wrong. If you want to make some money, make some money. But these governments got all the fucking money on the planet, and you want to steal from me? Hell, China, they the same way. They some scamming motherfuckers. That's why the Japanese don't really like them. The Japanese have an honor code. Like, that's why if I was gonna move to Asia, I know in Japan, honor means a lot. In China, they don't even have a word for cheating and scamming. In China, and I saw this just, I remember it was an episode of Vice that I saw, and just some reading that I did on China around the time of that scam that happened just before the pandemic, where all those Chinese nationals were getting into the UC school system. I did a lot of research on that. And during that research, you heard a lot of people saying that, like, you know, in China, people look for ways to game the system, and people who game the system are actually looked at positively in China. That's distinctly different than Japan, where in Japan they work on an honor system. And for me, I don't study groups of people to judge them. People are who they are, and their cultural experience made them that way for whatever reason that made them that way. I can't change it, and I ain't trying to. I just gotta know where I'm going. Just like when I lived in the hood, going back to knowing your environment. I knew when in South Central, if I'm going down Vermont, when you cross Manchester and get into the south side of Manchester and make a left on Vermont, and then it's cool. But then when you get to Century, it's all the hood, but closer to Century, it's like a really nice pocket. Century in Vermont, nice pocket. But if I go now 83rd in Vermont, nigga, I almost got carjacked on 83rd in Vermont. I had a homeboy who lived over there, and you know this when you picking somebody up, they take forever to fucking come outside. This nigga was taking, this like when I was like 20. This nigga was taking forever to come outside. I saw this nigga coming up behind me. I gotta know when I'm on 83rd in Vermont, your shit gonna get fucked up. But if you're on 87th in Vermont, you're probably fine. If you're on 74th in Normandy, you might get shot. If you're on 74th in Van Ness, you good. All in the hood, less than a mile apart. Oh, 120th in Vermont, it's a goddamn police substation there. You still gonna get fucked up. The sheriff got a community center on 120th in Vermont, and you still gonna get fucked up. This is with everything in life. If you plan on moving to an environment, you study the environment, and that goes to the immigrants that are in here listening. That I don't, I love y'all, but you got to understand when you come to America, there's a way things are done here, and Black Americans have a distinct culture here. Now, the white man chooses to not show you our culture. And there's too many stepping, fetching ass niggas that want to, act like we ain't got a culture, or they only want to. You got those kind that only highlight the bad side of our culture. Everybody got bad sides, but we have a distinct culture here, and we're not going to change just because somebody showed up. The same way nothing across the diaspora is going to change just because your black ass showed up. You ain't no hell of a nigga. People think, oh, I'm going to show up and all the black people going to be free and that. No, black people around the world, including us Black Americans, our shit is fucked up. And it's our internal issues that got us to where we don't deal with the real issue. If black people around the planet decided to focus on white supremacy would be over. What is it right now? 3:24 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If black people got on code to eliminate the system of white supremacy, the system would be over by 4 p.m. and without one person having to die. Because a person can only stand over you if you on your motherfucking knees. But we don't seem to get that across the diaspora. Black Americans get it more than anyone else. Because we are here in the belly of the beast. We are here in the biggest imperialistic country on the planet. Our imperialism is that we got from the British We understand what y'all going through because we live amongst the people that imperial that conquered your monkey ass. So we get it. Those of us that are on code overall get it. We got our internal beefs, but like the LA riots, even with Black American beefs, we'll put our beefs to the side to fuck them up. Now we wait too long sometimes, all the time, but we know our beefs are surface level. The issue is people coming to this country from other countries and assisting with white supremacy. So before the reason why Black Americans had to create terms like tether and FBA and Solon and ADOS was because around Dr. Carl Anderson realized this shit back in the 90s. Norris Shelton realized this shit back in the 90s also, DOAS. I got to salute Norris Shelton and Dr. Carl Anderson. They were on it back in the 90s. But most of us got on it in the 2000s and the 2000 teens because we saw a consistent pattern of behavior. So the reason why we're coming together around our ethnic identity is because there are too many people coming up to our table with a plate. They're not bringing no food. They're not bringing no money so we can buy more food. They didn't bring a case of sodas. They didn't bring no plastic forks, no napkins. They just got a plate and an empty stomach. So we had to figure out, okay, who's on the team of the people who bought the food? Who bought the food? Everybody, y'all bought the food? Come over here. Hey, we got to decide who put in on this. Who bought the weed? Or these niggas didn't buy, but they smoking? And what do I mean by the people who came to the table with a plate and didn't bring anything to us? This is what I mean by, let me make it very clear about y'all messing up our internal politics. Winsome Sears in Virginia saying that we don't need reparations. All of these, that the governor of Maryland, that dude, that looked like a fucking G.I. Joe character because he ain't got no goddamn facial hair. That nigga look like Charlie Villanueva working against the interests of Black people. Ketanji Jackson Brown saying that she doesn't know the difference between a boy and a girl. Basically telling us that she's going to use our civil rights legislation anytime she gets a chance to give more benefits to people confused between boys and girls. She's not going to stand up when it's time for the Supreme Court to vote on a civil rights issue. She's not going to stand up for the integrity of civil rights. She's going to give it away to chicks with dicks. That's what we mean. Like, this isn't just, okay, y'all don't like us. I don't give a fuck if y'all like us or not. We don't. Whatever. No one gives a fuck about like or dislike. Grow up. It's about these people coming in and getting into the seat of power and using, Kamala Harris. You think I'm just going to do anything for Black people? No. Obama, let's use civil rights for the gays. That's what we're talking about. Black Americans don't go to your countries and join government. That's the difference. Black people don't go to your country and speak for the people of your country. Like, you had Amanda Seals, that Jubilee show. Everybody likes coming to America and making a circus out of Black Americans. You got an Asian dude running some Jubilee channel creating conversations about Black Americans and the diaspora, but then getting basically Amanda Seals, who's not a Black American all the way, to speak. Now, she did a wonderful job on that particular show. But then turned around a couple weeks later and talked about, I don't see why Black people are delineating and yada, yada, yada. That's why we don't want people like you speaking for us. people like you will say every now and again, y'all say some dope shit. But no, we delineate because we have ancestors that built this country, and we want our check, and we don't apologize for it. We don't apologize for it. So Oshay having this talk on his channel, I'm not going to sit here and point my finger at Africans for being a scamming culture, as he's saying. I'm not here to come and dump on them. They'll figure that out when it's time for them to figure that out. My message is for the people who always say we need to go to Africa. When I study the environment of Africa, that's not an environment that I feel that I can really do anything with. They got their own way. They scamming each other long before I arrive. You think they gonna be honest with me? Hell no. And then on top of that, and it's not to say all of them are scammers, because we got scammers here in America. Not to say all of them are, but in America we got laws that prosecute scammers. When I was listening to Oshay talk, if you watch later on in the video, he goes in and talking about how like somebody stole from him, or I don't know if they stole from him, but he's telling the process of how you get stuff back if someone steals from you. He's like, first you gotta pay the police. The police take their sweet little time, and then you gotta pay for them to go out. Like, you gotta keep paying. And then when it comes down to the accountability side, from what he said, and also from what I've heard, listening to so many people from that area, it's like the scamming is accepted. That's where it's an issue. Like China. Scamming is not accepted in Japan. So if I'm gonna go to an Asian country, it's more likely gonna be Japan than China. Because Japan is more in alignment with my honor code than China. I ain't leaving America for neither one of them motherfuckers. I'm just saying if I had to choose. Somebody says scamming ain't that illegal here. That you have to say that means it's illegal. Somebody got a hold to my debit card number 6 months ago. I got my fucking money back. You dig? That's the kind of culture I want to live in. If somebody gets a hold of my credit card number and they go having a shopping spree, I want to get my money back. I don't want to live somewhere where it says, okay, I just do it to them. Hell no. Run me my motherfucking money. See, black folks get into this whole situation where, this whole idealism thing where, oh my God, we're just going to go back to Africa and everything is going to be okay. No. Africa has internal politics issues that it needs to work out. The same way black Americans have internal politics issues we need to work out. That's another reason why we identify ourselves as FBA, ADOS, whatever you want to call us, NBA, Solon, is because we gotta, we got our own Larry Elders to deal with. And what's his name? What's his name? On Supreme Court, that motherfucker, Clarence Thomas. We got our own goddamn shit to deal with, man. And this is our country. Rocky over there itching his ass off. I gotta get Rocky a Benadryl. I'm still here, y'all. I'm still here. I gotta give Rocky over there scratching his ass off. Come on, Rocky, let's get a Benadryl. Y'all hear me? Y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Yes. Somebody said we have tribal issues here too. Look, our tribal issues are very, 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 very surface level, okay? Do we have tribal issues? Yeah, somewhat. But nothing like 100 years ago, 150 years ago. We really started to solve our tribal issues 100 years ago. Now, when it's just us and we got the power, like in environments like church, stuff like that, yeah, nigga, people play little bullshit tribal games because humans are tribalistic by nature. Okay, let's get that straight. Humans are tribalistic by nature. The difference is, Black Americans are far, let me say that again, far less tribal than everyone else. And that's a blessing, but it's also been a curse for us too. And the reason why it's been a curse for us is because we assume everybody's tribalism is on the same level as our tribalism. Our tribalism is, okay, a 20-year-old Crip from A Tray not liking a 21-year-old Crip from 60s. Okay, that's because those are people who chose to live in gangs. And on top of that, not only is that a gang thing, when a situation like the LA riots or something like that happens, the black gangs put the tribalism to the side right away to focus on the common enemy, the LAPD, the Gestapo unit that polices us. We know how to sit our shit to a side when it's time. We know, okay, there's certain tribal things, but now ain't the time to be tribal. We have a common mission. You didn't see black folks get tribal when Trayvon Martin got killed. You either was on code with justice for Trayvon Martin or you shut the fuck up. Am I right? And I say this, what I'm about to say, how can I preface? Let me just say what I preface in it. In so many ways that's hurt us because when we are in charge of hiring for the city, for the state, we'll hire anybody that's qualified. And that's really how it should be. The problem with people, let's use Latin, let's move Africa to the side. Let's use Latin America, for example. Latin America hate. Puerto Ricans hate Mexicans. Mexicans hate El Salvadorians. El Salvadorians hate Guatemalans. Guatemalans hate Costa Ricans. Dominicans hate Trinidadians. Then Trinidad is not Latin, but you get what I'm saying. They'll put their tribalism to the side to keep black people out of something. And what's my evidence? My evidence isn't how I feel. My evidence is living in Los Angeles and seeing their, having friends that I have one friend that's a janitor. He at the LA Unified School District. Black folks are kind of running that, but it's people of all races that work within the janitorial department. The Mexicans run the paint department for the Los Angeles Unified School District. So since the Mexicans run the paint department, ain't no black people working in the paint department. I go by construction sites. I don't see black people. If I do see a black person, he's holding a stop sign, meaning getting the least amount of money on the job. I don't even see black people holding stop signs no more. That's what I mean. That issue has to get solved before anyone talks to black Americans about our tribalism or why we calling ourselves FBA, why we're delineating. Y'all gotta fix that issue before speaking to us. You gotta go to your own community and say, okay, why is it when we're the ones that are hiring for these jobs, ain't no more black people working here? 10 years ago, this whole department was black. Hell, as a matter of fact, it was a black person that promoted you to be the hiring supervisor at the DMV. How is it a black person promoted you, but you ain't hired one black person? Y'all gotta handle that shit. Africans too. Africans have all kind of tribalism, but they'll tribe up to X us out. Do y'all remember that leaked email from like Issa Rae and all the David Oyelowo and all those African actors talking about coming to put each other on? Do y'all remember that from like 2019? It was like just before the pandemic. There was a leaked email with David Oyelowo and all these African actors and people talking about, and British blacks talking about coming to America and putting each other on. Go, you remember. That issue has to be solved before you deal with why we call ourselves FBA. Let me take you to the next step. You guys will say, oh, well, black Americans, they talk bad about us. They said this and they said that. They talk a lot of shit. Okay, that goes back to how we started this discussion on studying your environment. Black people created the art that you love called stand-up comedy. You love Dave Chappelle. You love, what's that dude, Michael Blackson. You love Michael Blackson, don't you? Yes, nigga. You love him, don't you? Yeah, I thought you did. You like Chris Rock, don't you? Well, that art was born out of what we created. It's right here on my tree. Stand-up comedy was created in the same venues as the blues and jazz. And the reason why comedy is art is because when we were enslaved, we came up with a thing called the dozens. Do you know why we called it playing the dozens? It was because slaves that were mangled and maimed, old or whatever, they weren't completely fit to serve, they were sold by the dozen. Oh yeah, Godfrey, because Godfrey like playing between two lines. But the reason why we call it the dozens is because if you were sold in the dozen, there was something wrong with you. You were mangled, you were old, you were retarded, something. And so if me and you start going at it, I'm going to say something at that time that's going to be funny, that's going to associate you. You may have been sold, you may have been, the way we are black folks, you could have been the highest priced slave of the fucking year. But when we get in this joke battle, you're going to be one of them motherfuckers that was sold by a dozen. Laughter and talking shit is how we got through and continue to get through the most oppressive times. Laughter is the reason why we don't have an attitude of, oh, that just is what it is. No, God damn it. We want it all. Socks and drawers. And the laughter is what helped us keep that spirit. Laughter. So yes, you come in stinking or with a fucked up hairline, we gonna talk shit about you. You should have studied the environment before you came if you can't handle it. The environment is not going to change just because you showed up in stonewashed jeans and a 1979 mustard yellow diesel Mercedes. All right? The environment is what it is. You chose to move to it. So I don't accept that from people when they say we're Black Americans. Oh, we over here fucked up trying to figure out how to make $1 out of 15 cents, but we got to get perfect just because you moved to our neighborhood? Fuck out of here. Oh, a gang member robbed you? So what? Nigga, they robbed me too. You can go back home? Wanna do that? They burned niggas in tires over there, rolled them down a hill. I know because the Nigerian homie told me they did that. Oh, he was a Black American. They're just so mean to me. They're just so mean. Life's mean, bitch. Oh, you encountered a mean Black American. Whoop-de-doo, so have I. Hell, my auntie one of the meanest motherfuckers you'd ever want to meet. I grew up with a mean-ass auntie who was a Black American. Hopefully she run across your little soft, tender ass so you can toughen up, nigga. They come to us with these unrealistic expectations of we're just supposed to roll the red carpet out and all of a sudden get perfect because they've arrived. If our shit was together, we wouldn't be subjugated, nigga. Just like I'm not over here to shit on Africans for not having their shit together. Y'all shit ain't together right now. The Songhai Empire, back in the 1600s and the 1400s, y'all had y'all shit together back then. Just every continent, every people gonna have its ups and downs. Y'all on the downswing, we're on the downswing. Cool. The difference is this particular lineage don't accept being on the downswing. We're going to continue to fight regardless. And let me say something else about us. God damn it. On top of us not liking scams, we are a luxurious people. Can I lay something on y'all real quick, Black Americans, from a perspective that I don't hear people talking about? And if you hear somebody saying it after this, tag me in it, because they took it from me. We are a luxurious people. Own it. Own it. What do I mean by we are a luxurious people? We invented the doorknob because we so fancy, we don't want you just coming in unannounced. Knock, nigga, because we have decorum. We invented the light bulb because we ain't trying to have soot all over our goddamn cabinet from these goddamn candles. So we invented the light bulb. We invented the telegraph because we were like, why the fuck do we got to keep putting a message in a bottle and sending it to you when I can just put a message on this wire right here and send it to you across the country? We invented that. We invented luxuries like catering. I got 40 people coming over. I don't want to cook, and that's too many to take to a restaurant. So we said, we'll bring the food to you. Catering is a luxury. We created that. We created ambulance services in America. It's a luxury to get injured. Now although none of us ever want to ever in our lives get in an ambulance, it's a luxury to be able to call one when you need. We invented that. We invented running toilets because we don't think it's cool that shit be in the streets. We some highfalutin ass niggas. We are. We invented the dustpan, right? We invented dry cleaning. Thomas Jennings. We literally invented dry cleaning. Pressing your clothes, looking sharp. We are some fancy motherfuckers. We invented the elevator. Because we're like, we tired of getting musty walking up all these goddamn steps. There got to be a way to get up there faster. So we invented the elevator. We invented the automatic railroad crossing because we got tired of seeing motherfuckers get killed when the train was coming down the street. No. My great granddaddy said, you know what? Let me create something that's gonna warn people that this train is coming so people stop getting killed. My great granddad did that shit 2 generations out of slavery, invented that. God damn it, we some, you know how fancy we are? Nigga, we so fancy. We ain't be like, you know what? I don't feel like eating a whole meal. So I'm gonna invent some shit called a potato chip. You know, yeah, they're nuts and berries and whatever, but you know what I mean? I don't want no nuts and berries right now. I don't feel like eating a steak. So let me take these potatoes and make some chips out of them just so I can snack on them. We invented that. We are some fancy motherfuckers. We say, you know what? It's a hot day. I need to cool off. The style of ice cream that's made in America, we invented. Not saying other parts of the world don't have what they have, but the ice cream that we eat here, we invented it. That gives you a totally different perspective on our inventions, don't it? Most people talk about, oh, look at what we did. We got to ask ourselves is, that's good to know what we did. We got to ask, why did we do it? I got to ask why. What's the motivating, I see a pattern of behavior across these people. Yeah, we invented Wi-Fi. We invented the home security system, man. We invented the home security system. We got tired of you crackers breaking in our shit. So Miss Gladys Mae West said, nigga, the luxuries that America enjoys are what we created. They do the Penn State to that nigga. We the shit. Nigga, what? Heart surgery, yes. And do y'all know that my great granduncle Carl Glennis Roberts, Dr. Charles Drew, wrote his obituary 3 months before Dr. Charles Drew died in the National Medical Journal. My great granduncle was Dr. Charles Drew's OG, his inspiration. So, like, we know about Dr. Charles Drew, and we all should know about Dr. Charles Drew, but we also got to understand that there was more. And according to what he wrote in my great granduncle's obituary in the National Medical Journal, January 1950, was he said my great granduncle Carl Glennis Roberts was his inspiration to push it further. We invented the GPS. You write the traffic light. Come on now. Pay attention, look. You got groups of people like Myron Gaines that come to America, but you look at their homeland ain't even got traffic lights. People live in homelands where you just drive and go, and they get just mad. Cars all fucked up and bumped up, dented and dinged. We said, nah, hell nah. My turn, your turn. We are a people of order. You're right, Brina West, folding furniture. Right. You got to ask yourself. That's a consistent pattern of behavior. You got to look at the pattern of behavior. Okay, y'all want to look at our gangs? Okay, look at our gangs. Fine. Y'all want to look at the baby mamas and the pink-haired, bonnet-wearing ghetto broads that I never will be around ever in my life? Fine, look at them. But look at this too. And you ask yourself, what outweighs what? You enjoy that flushing toilet, don't you? Your country didn't do it. That's why you here. You enjoy that elevator ride to your 17th floor apartment, don't you? I bet you do. There's a cause and effect relationship between everything. The reason this stuff is here is because we invented it. Bioengineering, anybody? George Washington Carver? Soy, plastic? You enjoy the refrigerator, don't you? The refrigerator truck. We invented it. And then we invented the plastic for you to store your bum ass jollof in it, nigga. This isn't, I'm not speaking in the hyperbole. Oh shit. Oh God. Ash. My wife better not see this video. She gonna see Ash all on her couch. This isn't speaking in hyperbole. This is cause and effect. The postal box and the post office, the Pony Express. Who got the mail delivered nationwide from coast to coast? Black people. These convenient, black people gotta own it. We gotta own this shit, man. People talk about the conveniences of America. We invented them. You're right, the assembly line that made, okay, now Henry Ford, Porsche in Europe, Europeans could only make one car. I'm just throwing a day out there. I don't know the exact dates. Let's say a European, a car makes, they can make 2 cars in a day because, or let's say they make 5 cars a day because of no assembly line. The assembly line took you from 5 cars a day to 1,000 cars a day. That's how you create a super economy. The cotton gin, although Eli Whitney, white bum ass, got the credit, he was an ignorant slave owner. Why the fuck would he invent something to make things more convenient for his slaves? His slaves invented the cotton gin. Cotton is king in America. Cotton is what got America past England and Europe, and cotton is what got America on the block internationally. We started with tobacco, and do you know that Georgetown University, the Jesuits at Georgetown University, sold 200? It was something like 230 slaves in 1828 to Louisiana. But that whole African thing, we'll talk about that later, but especially that whole, we from the South, all that stuff. A lot of you niggas is from the North too. Y'all got sold to the South when cotton became king. Look up any book you can find on the intercontinental slave trade, the intra-continental slave trade within the United States of America. You'll see when Louisiana, Mississippi, when that Louisiana Purchase was made in 1804, it was kind of a dead time to 1804, 1810, around that time. You started to see 1820s, hundreds of thousands, some say millions, were moved from the north and the east to the south. Okay? Yeah, your family may come from Louisiana, but they could have easily been in Ohio just 60 years before that. Look it up and tell me I'm lying. This history is complicated, yo. But there's a common thread, whether you're from the south, the north, the east, the west. You invent the luxuries of America. You invent the super economy of America. Because George Washington Carver created that assembly line, it made Ford be able to sell cars 100-1 over anybody else. Some were Aboriginal, some weren't, bring the rest. We got to understand this. The world has always worked the way it works right now. White people didn't create shit. These cities that we're in, from Los Angeles to New York to Istanbul, Turkey, they've always been around, okay? Most cities are sitting on energetic grids that align with constellations. DC aligns with Virgo. This science goes back tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. We've all been here. We've been all across the planet. And the planet is dark. And there have been groups and tribes of people who've come and they've gone. If you look at a map of the ocean, when they drain the ocean, you see these high ridges. There was a point to where Florida, where Miami is, was inland. DC used to be inland. That land used to go out another few hundred miles during the Ice Age. So you have whole civilizations that are just under the water. Look at Bimini Road in the Bahamas. There's a whole civilization down there of people who don't exist anymore because that land is now 70 feet underwater, but it used to be a beach. The Sahara Desert used to be a rainforest. Not rainforest, it was a forest. The Sahara Desert used to be a forest with lots and lots and lots of rivers and civilizations that are now buried 1,000 feet below sand. One thing we gotta understand that is people have been migrating across the planet since forever. The only people who were landlocked were Europeans, not Europeans, Caucasians. Caucasians are the only people on this planet that were cornered to a section of the planet. This is facts. Out of the Caucasus Mountains, they went down into what's now Iraq and Iran, created the first the Aryans, then they got locked back up in them Caucasus Mountains. China built that Great Wall. What the fuck do you think the Great Wall was? They became landlocked, and the Moors went up into Europe and basically policed them. But the Moors started fucking all their women and lost sight of the thing, and they got conquered. And the Europeans in 1492 started with Queen Isabella. They got the keys to the planet. They got the science. They got the world, and 1492, they busted out. Spain busted out first. Portugal busted out first. Then Spain. Then later on, the French and the Germans and the Swedes. And they've only been out of that land for 500 years. We got to stop listening to them tell us a story. They were fucking locked away until 500 years ago. Every now and again, the Vikings busted out in 1062, and they made it to what's now Halifax, Nova Scotia, the Vikings. But that was short-lived. They're the only people who were locked anywhere, okay? The rest of the planet dipped. The rest of the planet dipped. So you have people who are indigenous here. You got people who came here 500 years ago. You got people who came here 1,500 years ago. You got people, I believe, who've been here for 30,000 years. You got people that's been here for 100,000 years. I respect the out of Africa theory, but you got to realize out of Africa theory is just a theory. It's not a science. It's not a law. That's why it's called out of Africa theory. It's a theory. It's a very strong theory, but it's still a theory because we're still figuring this shit out. Oh, it is Indigenous Peoples Day. Yeah, happy fake ass Columbus Day, or what they call now Indigenous Peoples Day. Real talk, Larry Smith. Everything doesn't need to be explained. Today, just living life, everything reveals itself. Right. This shit is far too complicated for us to explain. I was in Sacramento this past weekend, and I saw they had an area called Folsom. And you know what a Folsom site is? A Folsom site is where they have buffalo that were slaughtered and their bones were made into weapons by humans. So depending on the bones of the buffalo, they can tell when those bones were shaped into weapons. So basically anywhere around the country that you see Folsom, you're dealing with the existence of humans 30,000, 100,000 years ago, pre and post Ice Age, because we've had multiple Ice Ages. We've had times where it was cool over here about 200,000 years ago, California, Arizona. Then the Ice Age came. This California, Arizona, New Mexico was locked down 50, 60,000 years because it was under a blanket of ice. And the reason why Arizona has those mesas is because when the Ice Ages receded, it chopped off the top of those mountains. And then this place became inhabitable again 70, 80,000 years ago. And then another ice age came for a short little bit, and it made this land inhabitable, on the West Coast at least, until again about 15,000 years ago. Then it became inhabitable again because the ice age receded and the land came back. So you got people who migrated. Weather patterns cause people to move. The people who lived in the Sahara, where are they now? When the Sahara Desert was a forest for 100,000 or so years, 100,000 years of civilization in that Sahara Desert under the sand, where did they move to? It gets real deep. I deal with where we are now. And whatever existed in America in 1492, that system is long gone. And as a Black American who has ancestors that are both Powhatan, Cherokee, Potawatomi, Poarch, those are the four I can call off the top of my head that I know I have guaranteed ancestry with because I know the ancestors' names. And I saw some of them birth certificates where they were born Indian, not Negro. Because I have other ancestors born at the same time that were born Negro. When they got here, I don't know. I still haven't traced any African slaves in my history. Are there some? Probably. I don't know. I just haven't traced them. I have traced ancestors to Europe, though. But as we know by Ben Franklin's writing in 1751, Germans were swarthy up until about 200-300 years ago. That's according to Ben Franklin. He's on a $100 bill. Ask him. Those were his observations on race in 1751. He looked around the world and pulled out a pen and pad and wrote down observations on race. And Ben Franklin said that the Germans were swarthy in 1751, according to his writings. I wasn't there. I don't know. I'm saying that to say all this shit's too complicated for me to add up. But what I can add up is since we've had this experience in the United States of America, I found my first ancestor here in America in 1640. They married somebody who was already here. Okay? During these last 400 years, we created something new. We have a shared cultural experience. I got family that was both enslaved and not enslaved. When I look up and I see my great-granduncle, Adelbert Roberts, was the first black senator elected in Illinois state history, I was proud. You mean my great-great-uncle, black, was a state senator out of Chicago? And he was cool with Al Capone? Then, when I saw in, I think it was 1926, my great-granduncle, he ran against Ida B. Wells, and he beat her. When I said, man, great-granduncle beat Ida B. Wells, and he was accepted by the white folks, damn, my great-granduncle might have been like Maxine Waters. Damn. I already know how this country works. For you to beat Ida B. Wells, that means you had to be part of the game. So, based on that observation, I probably had a great-granduncle that was down with the shit 100 years ago. As a matter of fact, last year was the 100-year anniversary of his election. He got put into office in 1924. But I also got a mulatto great-great-granddad who I have a picture of, light, bright, damn near white, was a mulatto. But he was also enslaved. And his white father wanted to leave him the land. But the state of Mississippi stepped in the year 1855 and said that, yeah, he's a mulatto, but he's still a Negro. He can't own land in Natchez, Mississippi. Erosion, we drop Gerald Horne books in here for references all the time. You must be new. As a matter of fact, as I transition to talk about music, you need to go back and read Jazz and Justice when I turn into transition and talking about music. That's what I'm about to talk about for you to join this conversation. Since you want to drop Gerald Horne books, go read Jazz and Justice, then get back to me when I change this conversation to music. How about that? Now back to what we're talking about. People get so disrespectful. I'm just seeing that person just mad chatting. You're in the comment section just mad. Put a smile on your face. It'll help you out. Anyway, so us as black people, we had a cultural genesis. We had to learn from our mistakes. And we have ancestors that have been on both sides of those mistakes. We have ancestors that sold us out. When you get into the history of the Moors, we talk shit in here, Erosion, so don't take it personal, all right? I like talking shit. I'm a part-time stand-up comedian. Well, anyway, we had to learn. Like, if you look at Boston in the 1700s, those black Brits saw themselves as Brits, not black. And a lot of them sold us out. We didn't get it. White folks ain't that powerful. A lot of us dropped the ball. And that's how we got put in this position. A lot of us were co-conspirators. And that's how we got put in this position. Got to own it. But with all that being said, we have not lost our spirit of fight. That's what makes us different. We don't see somebody scam and say, okay, that's just what it is. We see somebody scam. Hell, even the gangsters snitch out here. Go look at YouTube. Go look at this whole back at how we started the beginning of the year with the big youth situation. Even the goddamn gangsters is snitches. Niggas ain't even good gangsters. We ain't on the mafia, the Italian mafia's level of gangsterism. Our gangs ain't even that good. Our gangs ain't got the control that the Hells Angels got. Our gangsters ain't got the control that the mafia in Detroit got. All our gangsters got is a goddamn street corner. And if the police want to muscle his ass off that, they get him out there in a heartbeat. Our gangsters ain't even that gangster. If we're going to tell the whole truth, our gangsters don't control no drug trade. Our gangsters don't control nothing. Our gangsters got to buy from other people's gangsters. Think about that for a moment. People always want to, y'all want to point to black gangs? Okay, let's point to black gangs. Where do black gangs get their shit from? Other gangs. The Mexican mafia, they can buy fentanyl created in Mexico, made in Mexico. And they don't need to see not their nigga to get it to America and get it on the streets. The Asian gangs get Chinese fentanyl and all the other shit. And they got their own shipping containers. They own airplanes and boats. They can get whatever drug you need shipped directly to America. What are the black gangsters doing? Buying from them. Please. Hey, white folks. Yeah. The 60s thought that they owned Crenshaw and Slauson. These motherfuckers got rid of Nipsey Hussle, and I do believe it's much deeper than some shitty cuz. Shitty cuz was put on assignment. Where's that video of that white man that shitty cuz talked to 10 minutes before Nipsey died in the parking lot? They had the white baseball cap on. Where the fuck did that image go? Why was he talking to shitty cuz 10 minutes before shitty cuz shot Nipsey? And where did that white man go? But that's another story. They got that nigga up out of there, renamed that intersection Nipsey Hussle Corner, and go drive on Crenshaw and Slauson right now. It ain't got no fucking energy. When Nipsey died, that corner died. Black gangs are the weakest of all. That's because we ain't gangsters. Our gangs were literally born out of a response to our environment. The Vice Lords in Chicago was born because they got tired of white folks fucking with them. The Crips were born because they was tired of white folks fucking with them. The Slausons, the businessmen. LA gangs were created because of white aggression. All of our gangs were initial resistance movements that got bastardized during the war on drugs. When Oliver North and Nixon sent their drugs down to our streets, took away the jobs, gave us drugs that we had to buy from motherfuckers named Danilo. Wasn't no goddamn black drug dealer buying from a nigga. Yeah, niggas was buying from Tootie Reese, but who was Tootie Reese getting it from? Who was Freeway Rick Ross getting it from? Tootie Reese is who put Freeway Rick Ross on. My dad used to, back in the day, Tootie Reese was his connect. But Tootie Reese had to talk to them. Only thing our gangsters run is they goddamn mouths. And other niggas. They don't run a motherfucking, even our gangsters ain't even the most gangster. If we want to let's look at the worst of our society. Y'all want to say the gangs are the worst of our society? Fine. Let's roll with that. Well, what drugs do our gangs create? None. What weapons do they create and run? None. So what do? They buy weapons and drugs from your gangsters and shoot and kill each other. And those of us who don't bang walk down them same goddamn streets safe as hell. I've been living in a black neighborhood my whole life. I've never not lived in a neighborhood, well, other than when I lived in View Park. Other than when I lived in View Park, I've never not lived in a neighborhood that didn't have gangs. Have I ever been bothered by a gang? No, because I don't fucking bang. They leave me alone. They left me alone when I was 7. They leave me alone now. We don't control any internet scams, right? We don't control any goddamn PPP loan scams. And half the niggas that did a PP loan scam and their asses is locked up in jail right now. There's a gang, the biggest gang war going on in LA right now is between the Russians and the Armenians. The Russians and Armenians, they're running like fake clothes and Jordans. You saw that Middle Eastern dude that runs Cool Kicks, he getting fake shoes off the train. Name the black gang that got those that's running shit like that. Fake clothes, shipped in from their own country. None. I heard them talking about that Cool Kids guy on 5150. And I gotta correct my brother Corey. I love Corey Holcomb. Salute to Corey Holcomb. Salute to 5150. But that part where they talked about that Cool Kicks and the whole train situation, Darlene didn't explain that situation correct. And I love Darlene. She's dope. She didn't, I don't think she got a chance, or for whatever reason, it wasn't explained properly. Here in LA, trains have been getting robbed really forever, but really since the pandemic. If you go back to the pandemic, there were lots of stories like when the trains are coming in to Union Station, I'm not Union Station, to the port to get unloaded with all the merchandise. A lot of those trains didn't have locks on them. So it was a big old thing here in LA for a few years to rob those trains. They knew when the Apple train was coming with Apple products, Nike products. And so that was a major issue here in LA, 2020, 21, 22. So what was done was a task force was created to hammer down on that. And the first thing they did was secure the rail yards. But these Chinese gangs and these Armenian gangs and these Russian gangs, they're the main ones. The black gangs wasn't even on that. It was these Asian gangs, because remember, a lot of that stuff gets shipped from Asia, from China. So they gangs knew, okay, what's on the ships, what's on the trains. And it was a major issue here in LA. So a task force was created to not only hammer down on the initial robberies, but hammer down on where the shit's getting delivered to. And if you're on the streets here in LA, like I used to know people who used to get like gift cards, get all kind of shit. If you press number 1, if you're in LA, anyone that's connected to anything in LA 10 years ago, like I need a new computer, I could find somebody on the streets to get me one. TV, that shit is dry right now. If you know what used to be a plug 10 years ago, if you in LA, nigga, that shit's done. And part of the reason is they've shut down on a lot of that plug shit. And people who were getting merchandise from those trains are getting hammered down on. And a lot of your Asian and Armenian businesses were the primary ones getting this stolen merchandise. So that's why the Cool Kicks guy got busted down on. I don't know if he did it or not. I wasn't there. I'm not saying he did or he didn't. I'm just giving you a better context as to what's been going on in the city for the last 5 years. That was a major thing. And the hookup thing, that shit's done right now. but it's primarily Asian gangs behind us. And these other groups of people, they all play. But you know what they do? They all box out the black-owned stores. These other people's businesses scam all fucking day. Scam, scam, scam. Ain't just the Africans. They scam and they're like cool kicks. I'm not saying he did it, but I know a lot of these businesses do. And the LAPD alleges he do, and I happen to believe them because I know where a lot of these other businesses, this is what they do. They just don't let niggas in on it. If you're a black-owned business, you bet 100% of your shoes better be from motherfucking Nike, nigga. Hell, they'll sell you them shoes and then snitch on you. Own it. I went to a beautiful conference this past weekend, and that's what she was talking about, Miss T. This conference was so dope in Sacramento. Own It conference. So glad I spent money on going up there. I learned so much to support my foundation and make my Black American Music Family Tree Foundation strong. Y'all know I got my foundation for my Black American Music Family Tree. You could donate now and get write-offs. So it was a dope experience up there, man. Dope experience. Yeah, Brian Barnes, I'm trying to figure out the same thing. Who is this nigga? I think you need to create a YouTube channel. You in here looking for attention. That's why Brian, I ain't said nothing to him. Motherfuckers looking for attention. I'm like, you got a YouTube channel already, nigga. Nigga, turn the mic and the camera on and talk. Make sure you keyword your titles right. And if what you're saying is interesting, people to come listen to you, brother. You ain't got to type in here if you want some attention. You want some attention, go create your own attention like I did. 2018, 2019, I used to be in other people's chat room too. Now I wasn't in there looking for attention, but I was sometimes listening. I'll be in Tariq's chat room or Black Magic 363 or somebody's chat room, and they would say something that I slightly disagree with, and I'd have an opinion. I wouldn't go up all in their chat room and tell them why they wrong. After a while, I got tired of it. When I would hear people talk about music, and they never I never saw nobody on YouTube talk about music the way I see music. And for years, I was looking for people to talk about music the way I see music. I couldn't find them. So I had a choice to make. Do I go into the chat rooms where the people talk about music and spew my opinion and flood how I think about music? Or do I create my own fucking channel? Yes, I only have 35 subscribers, and 30 of them came because I was tagged in somebody else's video 2 years ago on some shit. I only had 35 subscribers when I said, June 2020, when I said I'm taking YouTube serious, I had 35 subscribers. I said, man, if I could just get 10 people in my chat room, I'll be happy. T Dynamite in the chat, she was one of those 10. Reggie Edwards was the other. Reginald Edwards, who's being here, two of my mods. It'll be those two people and nobody else. But I said, you know what? The way I see music, that opinion has to get out. And no one is talking music the way I see it. So I said, if it's to be, it is up to me. You get it, Erosion? You have a channel. There's a plus sign in the top right corner. and it says record. And you can record all you want to say. And if you grind hard enough, you're going to find people who want to hear what you have to say. And you'll be satisfied. But you won't be satisfied in this chat because we think you look stupid than a motherfucker right now. Talking about going down, let's talk about some music, you know? 'Cause we were talking about inventions earlier. Our greatest invention in this country is the music. Let's think about our music. We're talking about how luxurious we are. And this goes back into the topic, knowing where you're going to move to. People who move to this country, understand this. Oh, yeah, Andrew Como, yeah, you was here before I had 100 subs. You were. Hell yeah, you were. Andrew Como was here before. See, erosion? There's people in here that were here before I had 100 subs. Now I'm over 40,000. Pick a lane and run in it, homeboy, and I wish you success. But you ain't gonna get that success over here, goddammit. But anyway, back to we're talking about the style of people that we are and knowing where you're moving to. Black people, we don't own who we are. We own the bad shit, but we don't own the good shit. And we're learning. This is something that we're learning right now. This is something that we're in the process of right now. We're in the process of cleaning up a lot of our shit. We had a very open door policy to immigrants the last 60 years. Frederick Douglass didn't. Frederick Douglass warned us, if we go back to the 1860s, Frederick Douglass told us that immigration is only going to weaken us. We actually, I don't want to say we didn't listen to Frederick Douglass. It's just as the generations went on, we forgot what Frederick Douglass said. Frederick Douglass did warn us about 170 years ago. But in the last 60 years, we were agreeing to something that's harmed us. And we're the generation, us millennials, the younger Gen Z, and the people, the Zillennials coming up behind us, we're feeling the effects of that mistake. We were raised, go to college, you'll get a job. Vote Democrat, support immigration. So we did in our 20s. I went to college, I got my degree. Then when we graduated, we realized those jobs ain't as bountiful as we was told that they were. And if you're on the West Coast like me, and some of you are starting to experience it down south, but if you're in LA, New York, you started to see the children of those immigrants, you said that was okay coming over. Now, when you go apply for a job, Spanish speaking preferred. What does that mean? You don't qualify. We didn't get it right away. We still said black and brown. Then you started to look up. When I was in DMV 20 years ago, it was all black. Now, where are the black people in the DMV? When I have to go down to the courthouse, thank God I ain't had to pay a ticket in over 10 years, but, you know, there's far less of us in the courthouse now. Like, when a water main broke down the street and they brought these plumbers out and the whole plumbing crew was Mexican. Well, not one black person. At least when the white folks controlled it, the white folks hired one Asian, one Mexican, one black person. At least the white folks at least did that. The white contractors at least had that one nigga, two. Might be 15 white boys, but it might be 20 white boys, but the white boys gonna have three niggas. Y'all ain't got one. They trimmed the trees in front of my property about a month ago. They contracted to a tree trimming company and nobody was black. So we're the generation that realized, oh shit, we made a mistake. We're the ones that were saying that Africans and we all the same. Only to, as Dr. DeReady Short reported to us, you look at Howard University now run by Africans. And black people don't get promoted in Howard. Black Americans, the African folks at Howard have an Asian over the music department. How the fuck is an Asian anywhere in music at Howard University? No disrespect to no goddamn Asian, but they would never have no black person running shit in Tang Tang Tong 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 Tile University. They might let your black ass teach music because you good. Ain't nobody named Johnson gonna be running shit at Pang Poom Pow University, nigga. Fisk. Y'all playing games at our universities. That's crazy work. We created these institutions for everybody. But look at how y'all acting when y'all get in the door. We created Essence Fest and Essence Magazine. Even when the white folks bought Essence Magazine, they at least knew to leave Black American culture alone. At least the white people knew to leave it alone. Let's leave the niggas alone. Let's make our fucking money. These niggas are gonna come here every year. Let these niggas have their bread and their circuses, and we'll keep scamming these niggas. That's what the white folks. The white folks understood. Give us our bread and our circus. They can keep the scam going. Some racial loot come in. This nigga bring in Jollof competitions. And because you bring in Jollof competitions, that made us look at the board of ebony. And it ain't no black Americans. You got the United Colors of Africa. Y'all hate each other within Africa, but y'all love each other to come together to run our magazine. And not hire a black American? This FBA movement, although Tariq coined the term, that ain't got shit to do with Tariq. Tariq did a great job of coining the term and pointing something out. What made Tariq successful is he pointed out something that we've all seen, and it's real. You can listen to Tariq talk about FBA one time and never listen to him again and still be 100% on code with Tariq because he's only pointing out what we all see. All I got to do is go outside. That's what makes... So y'all can talk all the shit y'all want about Tariq. Oh, Tariq. Y'all just wasting y'all fucking time. The brother man pointed out something that we've all seen. Let me give you an example for all the Africans in here. Go back and watch Eddie Griffin's stand-up special. It was either 1998 or 99. It's called Voodoo Child. One of the greatest stand-up specials ever. Go watch Eddie Griffin's Voodoo Child. In that stand-up special, he has a joke about the African cab drivers in D.C. thinking they better than black people in America. It's a wonderful joke. That joke got a lot of laughs because we all know it's true. And at the time, even though we laughed at that joke, we still weren't talking about delineating. We were like, okay, yeah, Africa don't like us, whatever. Let's crack a joke about it and keep pushing. We weren't really tripping like that. The problem is, 25 years later, y'all still got that attitude, and you're in control of our institutions. And you don't reach back out to us as a group. Are there some individually doing it? I'm sure. But let's just look at the examples. Look at Essence Magazine. Look at Howard University. Look at Fisk University. Let's just look at the places that you guys have gotten in control. Who are you hiring? Not for the low-level positions. for the money positions. Are you hiring other black people or other Africans? You can talk about Tariq Nasheed all day, but as long as I look out there and I see who you hiring, that's all I need to know. David said, as an African, FBA better delineate. Right. What's up, Larry Smith? It's not about hate or dislike. You niggas be sounding like sissies with all this. Don't like. I'm a grown-ass man. I don't like people anyway. Hell, I don't like you. No, I don't like you. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna tell you who I like. I like my wife. I like my dog Rocky. I like my parents, and I like my friends. If you ain't in my inner circle of people that I talk to, outside of doing shit like this, if you meet me in person, I don't like talking to people I don't know. I don't give a shit if you FBA or not. I don't like hood rats. If you a hood rat, if you wear a bonnet and you're a woman, me and you are, I'm probably never, I'll acknowledge your presence if you walk into the Chinese food stop. Hi, how you doing? That's the most you get out of me if you're a FBA with a bonnet. If you one of these niggas that you come in the room, oh, cuz, blood. I'm be like, okay, yeah, I need to go to the next room. I don't want to talk to this nigga. Nah, black Americans I don't like. Fuck like. It's about business. And that's it, reparations. We're trying to fight for reparations right now. We're trying to fight for our survival. And the means of survival is a decent income. And when you have groups of people coming to this country and they're coming together to box us out of a decent income and then stand in a way where we're trying to fix this country the way we've always done, and like Winsome Sears, they get in our way. That's the problem. So it's not about trusting Oshay Ramsey. This isn't about trust either. The only person you're supposed to trust in life is yourself. If you trust yourself, your instincts will tell you when to not trust somebody else. That's a whole fact. Most people don't know how to trust themselves. If you trust yourself will tell you when somebody's on and when they off. Broke clock is right twice a day. But the other side of that, people who are honest and upright, they fuck up too. Or they may have good intentions and just say something that's wrong-headed or not for you. If you trust yourself, you'll be able to decipher between all that shit. So this isn't about trusting Oshay Duke-Jackson. This is about a man who has been a Pan-Africanist for a long time. In front of us, he is a true Pan-Africanist because he moved to Africa. Dr. Umar's a fake Pan-Africanist. He just talks about it and gets money from us. Those are the fake Pan-Africanists. The people who talk about it all day here in America. And, okay, I'm going to Ghana, I'm going to South Africa. Yeah, nigga, because they're paying you to go. You about to collect some donations. But you're not going to live over there. Oshay Duke-Jackson, for however you may feel about him, the nigga moved to Africa. That's a real Pan-Africanist, like him or not. And again, I don't like everything he says. It don't matter. He making money on his channel and he don't know who the fuck I am. So whether or not I like what he say is irrelevant because Oshay don't know who the fuck I am. I'm just giving an opinion. So for a true Pan-Africanist, for somebody like him to run and say this about his experience, and go please, 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 go watch the video. In here, let me edit this video. Okay. All right, hold on 1 second, because I don't want to forget. Because the minute I log off from y'all, I ain't going to be thinking about you niggas. I ain't going to be doing nothing. So right now, I just, in the description, link to video. All right. I just put a link to the video I'm talking about in the description. So just, I only played a snippet of what he talked about. I plan on playing more, but the spirit didn't take me there. That means you should go back and watch the video yourself. It was just interesting. And it was not just that video. He's released a few videos since then. And it was just interesting listening, because I know he's always talked about being in Uganda, but this is the most he's ever talked about being in Uganda and what it's like. And it was, he didn't just shit on the place either. And I'm not shitting on Uganda. I'm not shitting on Africa. I'm just saying it's good to listen to the point of view of somebody who's there, who openly in front of us practice Pan-Africanism and evidence-based practice. The evidence is he moved over there. That's the evidence. So, it's just, and it was crazy because I was in Sacramento this past weekend. And I'm gonna be up in Sacramento a lot more. Not a lot more, but my foundation is gonna be working with a foundation up there, bringing music education and music history to one of the dopest community centers. I went up to a center up there, and it's owned by a black woman. She owned this huge facility up in Sacramento, helping out the kids, and I'm so impressed with what I saw. I've never seen a community center have a hair center to take care of the kids' hair and meal prep area to teach the kids how to meal prep. I've been in a lot of community centers because I work with hundreds, maybe thousands of kids, but I've never been in one this comprehensive. For someone to have a place for the kids to get their hair done, because hair is a primary cause of bullying. For a community center to be that detailed, I was so impressed with what I saw in Sacramento this past weekend. Like, I look forward to working with them. It was just beautiful to see. Ronnie, I appreciate the super chat. Lorana 465, I appreciate the super chat. But it was just some beautiful shit I saw in Sacramento this weekend, man. It was just like, wow. It was good to be around somebody who has a heart like I had when I was working with the kids, but has it on a level that I one day aspire to be on. Like, I'm really inspired. Sacramento, that city looked boring as fuck, but fuck all that. The business that I saw from black folks in Sacramento this week, I met some very high up people up there in politics and business, and I'm just thoroughly impressed. I really am. I really am. What's up, Nigerian Butterfly? I'm not going to tell you which one yet because I might have an announcement to make. I want to hold off. And I can't think of the name right now. I'm high. I'm high. Appreciate the question, Nigerian Butterfly, but I'm high right now. I can't think of the name. But I had a good time. But I rubbed elbows with some of Sacramento's business community this past weekend, and I'm really thoroughly impressed. They were down home black folks, and it wasn't all black conference. The conference had white people in it. It had Asians. It had Latinos. The audience was very diverse. The audience was extremely diverse. What made me so impressed was just like, and the black lady, she had white people that worked for her. But they was cool. I don't mind people of, look, I'm still not a hardliner. I'll work with anybody. A Mexican helped make this connection. I have a Mexican consultant that helped. He's a partner. I have a consultant. One of the partners is Mexican. He made this connection between two black people. The secretary of my foundation is from the Caribbean. I'm still not a hardliner, but I respect those of you that follow me who are. I'm not going to tell y'all to change. I'm not going to call you stupid for being a hardliner. But I'm not going to change who I am either. I'm not a hardliner. I work with anybody. But the people that she had on that panel, the professionals, one of the dudes worked with like LeBron and Steph, and one of the other, they're talking about mixers on Martha's Vineyard, and the other dude worked with the state and the federal and is responsible for millions of, the kind of black people that they tell you don't exist. It was just a dope experience for me. That's right, Quan. Business, I leave that personal. I can work with anybody, man. I don't come with hate, but I do trust myself. And if you're full of shit, I'll feel it. I've always felt it. Just sometimes when I got scammed the first time, I was a 23-year-old fresh out of college, and it was a black American, an Asian guy, and a white guy. It was an honest black American and an ain't shit black American that were partners. The ain't shit black American referred me to another ain't shit black American. And the ain't shit black American who I bought his house, and then he turned around and didn't move out. And I had to hold on to that motherfucker because he was scamming the whole goddamn time with the help of a white guy and an Asian. The biggest time I got scammed in my life, I got scammed by the United Colors of Benetton, nigga. The whole rainbow was represented. My first time losing damn near $100,000. So I learned one thing early on. Scammers come from home and abroad. But so does love and inspiration. A white woman taught me how to read music. My drum instructor was in Inglewood. I used to go to Amendola Music when I was 13, 14 when I first picked up a drumstick. And there was a white lady named Kay Carlson on the corner on Centinela and Acacia, just before you get to La Cienega. There was a white woman that taught the drums there named Kay Carlson. She taught me how to read music. The professor in college that was most, how can I say this? Most fundamental, most core to my route through college and success in college was a white lesbian liberal. I generally hate white lesbian liberals because they ain't shit. The worst professor in college was a white lesbian liberal. My best professor in college was a white lesbian liberal. My worst and my best was a white lesbian liberal. But one of the white lesbian liberals, Miss Nancy Grass Hammert, she's the reason why I chose communication studies as a major. She's the reason why I went to Cal State. I decided when I left Santa Monica College, instead of going to UCLA, I'm going to go to Cal State Northridge. She's the one that told me 10 years before I started stand-up comedy that I should do stand-up comedy because I knew how to integrate. I would always integrate funny in my debates. She was my debate teacher. I'd always win debates using humor, and she told me I should do comedy. And I didn't listen to her for 10 years. There's so many things that she told me I should do that I did. Some I did right away, but 100% of the things she told me I should do turned out to be massive wins for me. She talked to me about being a consultant. Now I'm a consultant. And one of my biggest clients who I got to get ready, got to prep for, I got my last meeting with them on Wednesday. I am a consultant for one of the biggest unions in California. 30,000 members. I'm the anti-black racism consultant. I'm the communication consultant. Right now I'm doing anti-black racism. My next thing with them is just going to be overall workplace communication. But a white woman pointed me in that direction. So I can't hate anybody. But at the same time, I do study history and I understand how people are. I know overall, those are the people of the ice. And culturally, they don't give a fuck about me and my well-being. And their reputation is to whitewash my history. So even though I had one of the most instrumental people in my life are white women, as a culture, I still understand how that culture operates. So you're not going to see me buck dancing for white women like a lot of you coon-ass niggas do. Y'all get one or two white people in your life, and y'all be like, ooh, they the best ever. No, they got their good and they bad. Problem is, the people who want to whitewash my history have a lot of voice in the good ones. That's the problem, so I got to speak up. I know some cool-ass Mexicans, but hey, a lot of y'all trying to write us out of lowrider history. I love you, but I ain't gonna let you do that. But I don't trust nobody. I trust myself. And I allow people to be. People are who they are. You can't change nobody. You can't wish nobody was different. You can't wish nobody was better. The only thing you can do is accept people for who they are. And people may be one way with you this minute and a different way with you the next minute. Meanwhile, you trust. Little did you know, they had somebody in their ear chirping about you, and you still feel the same way about them, but they listen to that birdie in their ear chirp about you. Now they feelings done changed about you. But you so worried about trust, you didn't feel that internal thing in your spirit that told you something about this nigga changed. I know we was cool. Hell, there was one time I didn't have nothing to eat and they fed me. There's that one time my car wasn't working right and they took me across town. All that's true. But something in my instincts is telling me this motherfucker, something, they different. What's different about this motherfucker? Trust yourself. You may overall, like this person that this conference I went to, one of the speakers talked about how she's a multi. She's raised millions of dollars for her foundation. And she talked about how her mentor was a white pastor. It was a white pastor that taught this black woman the game. What if she was like, oh no, all white people are this way? She wouldn't have gotten the game. You just gotta be smart. There's a difference between cultural norms, and individuals. In anthropology, we had a term called cultural norms. And there's a normative behavior that cultures exhibit, positive and negative. Problem is, someone brought up Charleston White. Problem with Charleston White, when he talks about black culture, he only focuses on the negative. Just like Charlie Kirk, just like Nick Fuentes, just like MSNBC, just like CNN, just like Fox News, just like Disney Films, just like New Line Cinema, just like ABC and NBC and CBS and BET. They focus on the negative side. So people have a warped viewpoint of us because only the negative side of our culture. And people they're accurate about the negative side of the normative behavior of our culture, but they omit the positive. And that's the hustle. And I don't respect that hustle. Louis Farrakhan talks bad about us, but he talks about the positive too. And the positive is how I start. Man, we've been here 2 hours now. The positive is what I said an hour and a half ago. And I hear you, Ronnie. I hear you. I ain't tripping on what you said. Yeah. I was making a different point about Charleston White, not necessarily off what you said. But we got to understand normative. And like the normative behavior of the ghetto is tension because the ghettos were created for tension. It doesn't mean everybody in the ghetto is about that tension. It just means that that's what the city planners planned for this side of town when they created their plan. That's why the street lights aren't as bright. That's why the intersections aren't as lit. They want things to go down over here. So they put liquor stores here instead of health food spots. That's the engineered behavior. And I do understand that when I'm in the ghetto, there's a certain normative behavior that isn't true for everyone in the ghetto. Same thing when I go to Beverly Hills. There's a normative behavior for Beverly Hills that's quaint, it's quiet, but you can still get robbed in Beverly Hills. I'm not safe because I'm in Beverly Hills. I'm just in an area that the normative behavior is generally more safe. Doesn't mean an individual won't come over here and rob me. People figure that out every day, G. So you assess cultures for their positive and their negative. And in black culture, our positive is never truly given credit. We are people of luxury. How often do you hear people talk about it like that? I gave you motherfuckers, how many examples did I give you about an hour ago on us being people of luxury? And if you're just now watching, rewind, go back and watch the whole video. A lot of game was dropped. How many examples of luxury did I give? Or did we give as a group about an hour ago? Like 50? Examples? The doorknob, the elevator, the cotton gin, the light bulb, the telegraph, all the elevator, the refrigerator, the home security system, the ice cream, the chip, Wi-Fi. We create shit that make life more convenient because we some fancy motherfuckers. All these things are true. But then you'll sit back and they'll allow somebody like a Charleston White to get famous or a Kwame Brown to get famous because they'll say black culture is ratchets. They'll say black culture is gangs. And so you get promoted for saying black culture is gangs. When if you really take a fine look at black gangs, the black gangs are the weakest of them all. They don't control not one bit of the underworld. What kind of shit is that? Even our gangs are weak. Our gangs are just tough against other niggas. So our gangs are weak, but our inventions are strong. Who are we? And I'm not here to fight against white people, fight against Latinos, fight against nobody. The reason why I teach and talk the way I talk is because you counter miseducation with education. You counter omission with information. I'm not here to say to talk bad about anybody else. I'm just here to put my foot in the ground and talk about me too, what we did too, and continue to do. Let's get off that. And I still acknowledge, yeah, we got a lot of shit that. Did I say that at one point in the show? Did I say we perfect? Hell no. I said we got a whole lot of shit to deal with. But we deal with it intelligently. We don't go on white people podcasts and say, we just need to do better. You're making it worse when you do that. Because you ain't fixing shit. You just getting attention. And too many niggas need attention. And nobody's perfect. Even once we get our shit together, guess what? We still gonna have a class of worthless niggas. So who the fuck am I to? I'm not about to sit around and talk about these worthless ass niggas. Do you see Asians talking about all the rub and tug girls in their community? No. And their gangs, them people that scam their way into USC and they get fentanyl. Do they talk about the Chinese folks shipping fentanyl to America? No. Do the Armenians talk about all those knockoff shoes and clothes that they make at home and send to America? Knockoff suits, knockoff Jordans? The Koreans, do you see any of these groups sit around and wait on the people saying, in order for us to do better in America, we gotta stop making knockoffs. We gotta be real Americans. We Koreans. We gotta stop making knockoff Jordans. We gotta stop shipping knockoff Jordans to America. We gotta stop having rubbing tugs as Chinese folks to get something from America. We need to do better. You stupid motherfuckers. And no, yeah, we got Bonquisha, but I'm not about to equate Bonquisha to these motherfuckers. I'm not about to even equate Jadavian. Yeah, that nigga shot up, may have shot 4 people, but them niggas probably owed him drug money. I'm not about to equate him to some white dude that just walk into a fucking church and kill innocent people worshiping God. They ain't the same. You can point mostly all of it, and I'm not here to excuse murder, but guess what? In a country that got more guns than it got people, people gonna get murdered. Deal with it. Asian, white, black, Hispanic, trans, gay, midgets, everybody gets shot in this country. When you're dealing with our crime, it's usually economic. The people that got shot up, they knew each other. Most of the time, they shot each other up over some inability to handle a stressful emotional situation in a country that does not teach emotional intelligence. But usually there was some sort of relationship between the shooter and the victim. Somebody stole from somebody fucked somebody's girl, somebody did something. Not to excuse it, it's not, no, what the fuck am I saying? It's not my job to excuse it. 2 dirty ass niggas want to shoot each other, that's their fucking problem. But you dumb niggas that equate that with somebody who got all the money in the world. They parents, they got access to resource. They just want to go ahead and shoot Charlie Kirk because of ideological differences. We don't do no shit like that. Niggas ain't going up to nobody. Now we want to point to Malcolm X. It's already been proven the CIA, FBI was involved in that. When you see black folks get shot by other black folks, usually it was one of these goddamn white agencies that was backing it. The same way they backed the overthrow of your dusty ass government if you got something to say about us. They always work from within. But we ain't gonna go to nobody's fucking church and shoot them up. We got poverty crimes. Solve our poverty, solve our crimes. You motherfuckers got crimes and scams just because. The fuck you need to scam $18 million in PPP loans for? Armenians, they left this fucking country too. They took some Armenian folks here in LA, they took the motherfuckers for 18.9 million in PPP loans. We ain't doing the fuck. Niggas is getting like 20 grand. Like, yeah, nigga, 20 grand, nigga. They motherfuckers 18.9 million. Look at Google. Look at Apple. Look at the scam Apple is. If Apple ain't a fucking scam, Apple stopped giving out the whole charger. Folks, am I lying? Apple already got more money than most countries. And they said to make $1 more, we're going to stop putting the charger in there because it's going to save on weight, on shipping, and it's going to save on cost of production. You can't even get the fucking plug no more. You remember when a plug in the cord was standard? Y'all let them do grand larceny right in front of us, and you'll get a Charleston White or a Kwame Brown and say, niggas is the only ones that be doing this to each other. Nigga, you are paying $1,400 for a phone they made for $6. And created a war in that country to get raw materials. Oh, we need these raw materials. So let's use the government to create a proxy war to get these motherfuckers fighting and killing each other so we can mine the raw materials. You did that too. And you were in cahoots with Samsung and Ericsson and Sony and Panasonic and all these other countries that need those same raw materials. These companies get together, create little wars in these countries so that they can rape the land and then turn around and sell us some shit that they can sell to us for $50 and they still be fucking gajillionaires. They say, nah, $50 ain't enough. Let me sell you for $1,400. Talk about larceny on the highest level. And they'll tell you the problem is black culture. Oh, we're just gonna give a whole pass. That's why that's what I'm saying. You gotta guard what you listen to and what you watch. Low vibrational information keeps you in a low vibrational state. Ain't nobody gonna help push you out of this, push you forward, push you on by always telling you how fucked up you are and this and that. If they can't balance that with love and positivity, what the fuck good are they? Your mama whooped you, but she also fed you. You have niggas that are sitting around and say black culture is the worst problem that we dealing with when we're dealing with a culture. And I still watch Kwame. I still watch some of Charleston White. I ain't got no issues with them brothers. I'm just talking about what's promoted in YouTube. If you saying negative shit about us, that's what's gonna get promoted. I ain't got no issues with them. I'm gonna still watch Kwame Brown, some of his stuff. Even though I don't agree with his points of views on race and Thomas Sowell and all that shit. Still gonna watch certain things that he do. I don't agree with everything Oshay Duke-Jackson talk about. Still gonna watch certain shit. And every now and again, I'm watch Charleston White. Every now and again. You good, Rocky? Gotta have that love, man. Gotta have that love. Gotta have that love, man. Gotta have that love. And when you project that, that's what you get in return. I was at a conference with some very powerful black people this weekend and white people that wanted to learn and Asians and Latinos that wanted to learn from these black folks. And I think that everyone walked away very constructive, with a very constructive conclusion. But I was only able to attract that because my vibration is on that level. If your vibration is on the level of a whole bunch of dusty ass niggas, guess what? I had to change myself from within to change what was around me. You don't like what's around you? Change that thing inside of you. If all you see is negativity around you, why are you so negative? Ask yourself that question. If the only black folks you see is robbing and shooting each other, then what the fuck is you on? I don't see them niggas robbing. I found out at my cousin's funeral that this was the hitter for the hood. Two of my cousins. And I found out at the same time, they both died 10 years apart. But I found out at their funerals that they were that guy. We were close when we were kids, but when they got into that part of their life, they just happened to go this way. I just happened to go that way. Wasn't no love lost. But while they was doing whatever they was doing for whatever hood they was with, I wasn't around. It's just my vibration. And not that I'm better than, I love my cousins. I miss them to this day. But I didn't know that side of them existed until their funerals. Then I look back, they're like, yeah, now D-Ray. When my cousin was on the show on that movie, Bastards of the Party. If you ask me, that's the best documentary ever on Bastards of the Party is the best documentary ever on LA Gang Life. If you ever watch that documentary, best documentary ever on the LA Gang Life. I'm like, is that my cousin? That nigga had how many bodies? And when I would come across my cousins when they were on that shit, they weren't on that shit around me. Whether it be a family reunion or a funeral, you see your cousins at funerals, or wasn't too many weddings, but you see them at funerals, and there were. I don't usually go to weddings, but I go to funerals. They weren't on that shit, and I would see them rolling down the street. Hey, what up? They weren't on that shit around me, because now my other cousins who are on that vibration, them niggas saw all of it. Y'all on the same vibration. Go listen to the Idlewild soundtrack. 3000 got a song. Was it on Idlewild soundtrack or was it on Love Below? Vibrate. Every boy and girl, woman to man. When you think you're done about the best you can. Motherfuck the wagon, come join the band. Vibrate. Vibrate higher. Yeah, that was Love Below. Thanks, ATLN. Andre 3000 gave us music for your ribs, for your soul. Outkast is a group. They gave us music to live by, man. Go back and listen to Vibrate. Every woman, boy and girl, woman to man. That song was a message. Change all this shit by changing you. Because when you talking about black folks, you talking about yourself. And if all you're around is dust, it's because you're dirty. Ain't no dust in this house. Ain't that right, Rocky? Ain't that right, Rocky? Rocky like, man, if you don't come give me some goddamn attention. I've been on here way too long. Oh, no, Rocky over there is rubbing his dick. No, that's why Rocky over there. Rocky over there doing doggy jack off. Rocky, look at him. Rocky like, man, if you don't get that, I'm over here. Rocky like, man, I'm playing my nuts, man. Fuck whatever you talking about. All right, Rocky, go ahead. Go to work. Go to work, brother. I'm thinking Rocky want to kick it. Rocky got to finish jacking off. That's all he stopped and looked like, nigga. Y'all saw that look Rocky gave me? He gave me a look like, nigga. Nigga Rocky was like, nigga, I'm busy. All right, player. Nigga getting it too. Rocky. I'll holler at y'all. Oh, and also Patreon. I didn't even make that announcement. The history of R&B starting this Sunday. 10-part course. College level. All right? Y'all have a good one.